It's payday, and trust me, I get excited just like anyone else. But here's the deal, I don't just rush to spend my paycheck on random things. Over the years, I've developed a paycheck routine that has helped me manage my money better, build wealth over time, and get closer to financial freedom. I'm going to break down the 8 steps I take every time I get paid. Step 1: Track your income. First thing first, track your income. Before I do anything with my paycheck, I need to know exactly how much is coming in and what I'm working with. It's surprising how many people don't know how much they are making or even where it's going. But here's the thing, it's impossible to plan for the future if you don't have a clear view of your current financial situation. So I log my paycheck into my budget and make sure everything is accounted for, from the actual deposit to any side income I've earned. Simple as that. A lot of people tend to forget that side hustles, freelance work, or even income from passive investments need to be included. I ensure that everything gets tracked and no money goes unnoticed. I also make sure to factor in taxes if they weren't already deducted. I recommend using tools like spreadsheets or apps to help with this so it's easier to track. If you don't know how much you are really earning, it's impossible to manage that money effectively. I even track my subscriptions and any automatic payments that come out so nothing sneaks up on me. It's easy to forget about that gym membership or those streaming services you signed up for months ago. By tracking everything, I can spot any unnecessary expense that I could be cutting out, saving me even more money in the long run. Step 2: Set your spending limits. Once I've tracked my income, I set my spending limits. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They don't have a clear idea of what they can afford to spend, and that's when things gets out of control. For me, I've divided my spending into essential and non-essential categories. My essentials include rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, and any necessary debt payments like loans or minimum credit card payments. I make sure these get paid first. These are the bills that absolutely must be covered for me to stay afloat. These are the priorities. Once those essentials are covered, I move on to the non-essentials like entertainment, eating out, and any extra fun things. Setting limits on these non-essentials keeps me from splurging too much and helps me stay within my means. If I overspend in one area, I know I need to dial it back somewhere else. Sometimes I will use the 65-20-15 rule. 65% of my paycheck goes to needs, 20% to wants, and 15% to savings and investments. It's a flexible method and it helps me maintain a balance while staying disciplined. This method helps me avoid unnecessary impulse purchases. Many times we end up buying things because we're in the moment or we have been marketed to. Having limits means I don't get carried away by emotions or flashy ads. Step 3: Pay off high interest debt. The first step is to pay off any high interest debt. If I've got any credit card bills or loans hanging over me, this comes next. It's all about eliminating that high interest debt first because that's where I'm losing the most money in the long run. Credit cards can be a major drain on your finances if you don't tackle them early on. I follow the avalanche method, which means I pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first. It's a little more mathematically efficient than the snowball method, where you tackle the smallest debts first. Paying off the debt fast frees up more of my income to put into investments. I might not be able to pay everything off in one go, but every little bit helps, and I stay focused on knocking it down. If you have multiple credit cards or loans, I recommend listing them out, ranking them by interest rate, and focusing on the highest one first. Once that paid off, move to the next one in line. The key is staying focused on paying off these debts quickly so they don't accumulate and end up costing you more. Step 4: Pay yourself first. Speaking of investments, once debt is cleared, it's time to pay myself first. This means I automatically direct a percentage of my paycheck straight into my investment accounts. I treat my investments like a bill I have to pay, just like rent or utilities. I don't even think about it. I've set up automatic transfers to my retirement accounts and brokerage accounts, so I don't have to make any decisions or forget. It's all about consistency. Even small amounts add up over time, and this is how I build wealth. The earlier you start investing, the more you can take advantage of compound interest. Even if it's just $100 or $200 a month, over time that adds up. By setting up automatic transfers, I eliminate the temptation to spend that money elsewhere. This consistent investing strategy helps me build wealth without thinking about it too much. Even if you can only invest a small amount at first, don't let that discourage you. Every dollar you put into investments is a step closer to your financial goals. Over time, you will be able to increase that amount as you gain financial confidence. Step 5. Build your emergency fund. Next, I built my emergency fund. It's not glamorous, but having an emergency fund gives me the peace of mind to deal with life's surprises. I aim to keep at least 3 months worth of living expenses saved up for emergencies. This fund isn't for buying a new car or going on vacation. It's there for things like medical bills, car repairs, or a sudden job loss. Having that cushion ensures I don't have to rely on credit cards or loans when life happens. Think of your emergency fund as your financial safety net. The goal is to have enough money saved up so that you can handle unaccepted expenses without derailing your long-term financial plans. Some people even recommend building a small emergency fund of $1,000 before moving on to larger savings goals. But I always feel more comfortable having a full 3 months of expenses saved up. Once that emergency fund is in place, it allows me to take more calculated risks with my investments. I'm not constantly worried about what might happen if I lose my job or if any unaccepted expense comes up. It gives me peace of mind. Step 6. Contribute to long-term savings goals. Once I've got my emergency fund in place, I move on to long-term savings goals. This is where I start thinking about things like buying a house, funding my kids' education, if I have them in the future, or even building wealth for retirement. For me, I've got these goals set up, and every time I get paid, I contribute to them, even if it's just a small amount. It's all about staying consistent. Even if it feels like I'm not making huge strides, I know every little bit is bringing me closer to those goals. The key here is consistency. Whether I'm saving for a down payment on a house or putting money away for retirement, it all adds up over time. I use automated systems for these long-term savings so that I don't have to think about them. By automating these contributions, I ensure I stay on track with my goals. Long-term savings is about creating a plan for your future, whether it's retirement, buying a house, or any other major financial goal. I find that the earlier I start, the less stressful it is later on. Step 7. Invest in yourself. Now the next step is investing in myself. I allocate a portion of my paycheck for personal growth, whether it's taking courses, attending events, or buying books. I have learned that investing in education is one of the best ways to increase my earning potential in long run. So I always make room in my budget to grow and improve myself. Whether it's a business course to expand my skills or a book on personal finance, I never regret putting money into my development. The return on investing in myself is always more valuable than a short-term material purchase. The more knowledge I gain, the more opportunities open up for me. You can never go wrong by investing in your skills, knowledge, and personal development. Step 8. Treat yourself. Lastly, I like to treat myself, but here's the catch. I make sure this is something I've earned, not just a spontaneous purchase. I might take a weekend trip, get something I've been wanting for a while, or even go out for a nice meal, but only after I follow through with the essentials first. This keeps me from feeling deprived while staying disciplined with my money. I think it's important to celebrate milestones along the way, but those celebrations are meaningful when they are reward for staying disciplined. Rewarding yourself for staying disciplined helps me maintain a healthy relationship with money. Life isn't all about saving and budgeting. You've got to enjoy the journey as well. Treat yourself when you've hit a milestone, but be sure it's part of your planned financial routine. So, those are the 8 steps I take every time I get paid. It might seem like a lot at first, but by making it a routine, it becomes second nature. This system has helped me stay on top of my finances, build wealth, and ensure that I'm always moving in the right direction. If you follow these steps, you'll be in control of your money too. The key is consistency, patience, and always thinking ahead. Stay on track, and you will see the results in time.